if I'm a business owner and I own a big building, why should I do a fluid applied roof on my roof?
Why fluid applied roofing? Fluid applied roofing, to break it down to basics, to explain it to someone that doesn't know anything about it. Let's go with your typical flat roof system on a large commercial building. There's different flat roof systems, but all of the different flat roof systems still have commonality to them, to where we, whether they use an insulation or not, we'll kind of talk about the top cap, the exposed layer of a commercial roof system is going to be some sort of rubber, EPDM, modified bitumen, TPO, all these fancy products, but they're all, for lack of better terms, a rubber type product. And what they do is they go up there, or whether it be a rubber type product, an asphalt type product, there's multiple products. So they go up there, and whether the roll is 3 foot wide, the roll is 6 foot wide, 10 foot wide, however it is, they roll out this roll of roofing, and then they weld it together, and they roll out another roll, and they weld it together, and they roll out another, and they're welding, gluing, stitching, whatever term they want to use, they're building this roof system on this flat roof. So it would be like if we took a bunch of blue tarps. You got this commercial roof. We're going to take a bunch of blue tarps up on your roof, and we're gonna sew them all together and cover this big huge roof. And there's your flat roof system. Isn't that great? So what fluid applied does, so that roof, those blue tarps, that roof system was manufactured somewhere else. So they manufactured these products. Then they bring them to the commercial building, and they install the pre-manufactured product. And it's all a bunch of pieces all put together. So what fluid applied roofing is, we are the manufacturer. We manufacture that roof on the roof. It's not manufactured somewhere else. We manufacture that roof on the roof. So instead of all these different pieces that get put together, we manufacture that one big blue tarp. It's going to cover your whole roof. The roof could be 15 acres large, and we're going to cover it with one tarp. This fluid applied roofing system is going to have no seams, no stitches, no nothing. It's all going to be manufactured on site, and it's just so cool when you think about it, that it eliminates all of those areas that are potential leaks. Like I say on the metal roofs that we put on, is every screw, we do an exposed fastener metal roof, and every screw that they put into it, every screw is a potential leak. Well, the same can be said about these commercial flat roof products, where they're seaming them together, and they hot weld the TPO, and they flash around all the protrusions, and they hot weld that. Every one of those welds done on site is a potential for a leak. Every one of those seams is a potential for a leak. So the fluid applied system gives one large seamless tarp to eliminate all the variables.
Sweet. So you talked about equipment a little bit. If anybody follows you on social media, they know that you become kind of outspoken about different kinds of sprayers and what's the right sprayer for guys and stuff like that. And why are you so passionate about this sprayer thing?
That's a good question. Why am I passionate about sprayers, pumps? Some of it has to do with the way I was raised. The way I was raised, quote that my dad always said was, you got to have the right tool for the right job. And, you know, Dad wouldn't borrow a tool from somebody. Why would I borrow a tool? I'm going to go buy it. I want to buy it. I want to own it. I want to have the right tool for the right job. And so that's the way I was raised. And say in our career, you know, we've been painting, we've been pushing coatings. I've used equipment, and there's different equipment for different jobs. There's equipment that you're pushing your equipment to the limit to get it done, or you have a large machine that easily gets the job done. And yes, the mascot. So a lot of guys ask in these Facebook groups and that are new to coatings and want to get into coatings. They ask the question, "Hey, I'm new to this. I want to buy a pump. What should I get?" And everybody, "Oh, you got to get the 833. You got to get this. You got to get that. You got to get this big, huge machine. If you're going to do big roofs, you got to do big machines." The fact of the matter is, that is false. That is a false claim, and it really gets under my skin, because I think about these new guys. I think about these guys trying to start a business. I think about these guys that were the same place I was before I went out on my own and was scared and didn't have a lot of money and wanted to make the jump into something new and was looking for help and looking for guidance. And if the best help is to tell that guy to go out and buy the biggest and baddest machine out there and go in debt up to your ears, that's just the wrong answer. They say things like, well, you could get such and such pump if you're going to do a 10 to 15,000 square foot roof. This pump will do the job. But if you're going to do a huge roof, you got to get a huge pump. The equation doesn't work that way. The facts and the science don't work that way, because there's a lot of variables. So let's say this little guy that's got his little pump, and he does a 15,000 square foot roof, and he's going to run one gun with 2 tips, and his machine pushes that material. And he works 8 hours a day with his little pump and his 2 tips, 8 hours a day, and he puts down coating. What changes when he gets this huge roof? He takes his same pump, his same wand, his same 2 tips, and he works the same 8 hours a day. What changed that he needs a machine that costs $15,000 instead of $7,000? What changed? Absolutely nothing. He can take that little machine and do that large roof. It's just going to take him more time. So the questions that you ask, that you would say is, well, if you're doing all these little roofs and you're running your little pump and you're running one guy, one wand, 2 tips, and you get a contract for this huge roof, are you going to run 2 crews? Do you want to run 2 guys spraying at the same time with 2 tips per gun? Now you're running 4 tips pushing material. Now your little pump doesn't work. Now you need to upgrade to a larger pump because you're running 4 tips. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the size of the roof. It has to do with the number of tips, the size of the hole in the tips, and the material that you're pushing. And those are the details that these guys are failing to answer these questions and educate these young guys about. So I want these young guys to know that you can get that smaller pump. And these are the questions you need to ask your product rep. What product are you pushing? What roof coating manufacturer are you dealing with? You go to that manufacturer sales rep that you're dealing with and you say, hey, I'm looking to buy a pump. What's the minimum that I need to push this product? Well, you're gonna need a pump that will run about 2 gallons per minute at about 3,000 PSI. Those are the important factors that you need to know. How many gallons per minute at how many PSI? and that's going to tell you if the pump can push the product. So 2 gallons per minute at 3,000 psi, or this huge machine at 4 to 5 gallons per minute, the same 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 psi. The difference is the gallons per minute. So this pump will do 2, this pump will do 5. This pump will push 2 tips, this pump will push 4. It has absolutely nothing to do with the size of the roof. That's my main problem with the way these guys are handling the answers. When somebody says, hey, I'm getting into roof coating, what do I need to buy? You don't need to buy a $15,000 pump. That's a brand new price. You could get away with this $7,000 brand new pump. You could find that $7,000 pump used for $3,000. So all these guys that are getting told, well, you need this $15,000 machine, they could buy a used $3,000 machine, get a couple roofs under their belt. Now let's talk about upgrading. So I just, education. You got to research. You got to talk to your product rep. You've got to research the equipment. And I'm passionate about it. I'm a collector of tools. I'm a collector of pumps. I got 5 pumps out in the garage. I got more than that. I don't even know how. That's horrible. I don't know how many I have. I've got. It's like the. I got little baby bear. I got mama bear. I got big papa bear. I can, So whether I could pull out one of my sprayers and we can, we could paint a little house. We could paint a little garage, or I could pull out my big dog and we can do whatever and push big material. But I've got the whole gauntlet all the way from wee little guys all the way up to papa bear. And they've all got their place, and I buy all my stuff used, and I get the manuals for them. I get the parts breakdown for them. First thing I do when I get something is I tear it apart. I look at it. I rebuild it. I repack it. I put it back together. Now I know my machine, and I'm not asking questions of, hey, what do I do if this? Hey, what do I do if that? If my machine breaks, I'm not at the mercy of finding a dealer, finding a repairman to fix my pump. I know how to fix my pump. I tore the thing down to pieces when I bought it. So I'm just kind of I love equipment. I love tools. I love, finding deals. I love buying cheap. I love fixing up old dinosaurs and running them. I'll run my little old dinosaurs right beside these guys that buy these big brand new pumps. I've done it. I've taken my old equipment on jobs and run them right beside guys with these big fancy rigs. And when you're up on that roof, they're running their gun, I'm running my gun. I don't see no difference at the end of the wand. It gets the job done. And so at the end of the day, that's kind of where I'm at, is you just got to educate. And when these guys ask a question, there's not always a simple answer.
Okay, cool. So switch gears a little bit. Old barns, you talk about old barns a lot. Like what is it that makes you so in love with all these old barns?
Old barns. Why? That's a good question. Why I like these old barns, I don't know. Why? I like old stuff. I love old stuff. I love fixing old stuff. I just talked about it, talking about pumps and sprayers. I love buying old stuff, tearing them apart, fixing them, and using them. I just love bringing stuff back to life. And again, I didn't choose barns. Barns chose me. I just fell into it. The guys that I worked for when I was young did barn restoration, barn repair. So I did it with them. I learned it. They were some of the best and some of the only in the area that did what we did. To this day, a lot of these old barns in the area, people want work done to them. They want new foundations. They want beam repair. They want roofs. And there's not a lot of people in the area that will even touch these old barns. A lot of people in the area want to buy them and tear them down. They want to light a match to them and burn them down. There's a lot of people. The big latest craze is all this reclaimed lumber. So the wood in these old barns is becoming more and more valuable. So these companies are really going out there trying to tear these barns down to get the wood. A lot of times fixing these barns up doesn't make any sense. Makes zero sense. Makes zero sense financially, especially. It takes a lot of money to repair them. A lot of these barns are a part of the family. A lot of these barns are on family farms. It was dad's farm. It was grandpa's farm. It was great-grandpa's farm before that. And that barn has been sitting on the property through it all. That barn has seen it all. They'll dig up pictures in the photo album of great-grandpa standing in front of that barn. So it's a part of the family as much as anything. And those are typically the people that we work for. It doesn't make sense because the agricultural industry has grown out of the use of that barn. What that barn was designed to do, it functioned. It was a tool on the farm. It's no longer a feasible tool for modern day farming. So from a business point, mow the thing down, light it on fire. But from a family heritage, from a history point, we got to save it. We got to save it. We got to put a roof on it. We got to put siding on it. We got to do a little bit of beam repair, foundation work. We can make that barn stand another 100 years, and it'll be there for the son, the grandson, I don't know, are they called great-grandsons as they go down? I don't know how it works, but once we repair and restore these barns, they can stand on that farm for another 100 years, and it's part of the family. It'll be a story down the road for a long time to come. There's only so many of these barns in existence. You can't build an old barn. Old barns are old barns. You can't, it's like a 65 Mustang. They only made so many of them. You can't make more. And when they're gone, they're gone. So every one that gets tore down now for reclaimed lumber to get made into hardwood flooring, to get made into your fireplace mantle, to get made into these restaurants and stuff that they're using all this wood for. Every one that gets tore down for that makes the ones that are still standing that much more valuable, that much more important. And I just love being a part of saving that history. I love being able to drive down the road and did that one. See that one? Did that one. See that? Did that one too. And they will stand. They will stand for another 100 years. Once we put a roof on them, foundation's good. You look up, they sure don't build them like they used to. You'll see a picture of one of these barns. A lot of times when you try to knock these barns down, they don't want to come down. The way that they're built, the way that they're pegged together, it's amazing the way that they were built in the day. And I just get a kick out of saving them. It's some guys restore old hot rods. I work on old barns. I feel like that. You watch some of these guys on these shows. These hot rod enthusiasts, and they know everything about them, and the date codes and the VINs and the this and the that. And I can walk into a barn and I can look at the wood and I can guess the age of the barn. I can look at the roof system. I can look at the beams. I can look at the stone. I can look at the design. I can date the barn. I just dig it, and it just happened. I was just taught. I didn't choose barns, they chose me. And I feel if my business transitions into a lot of this commercial work and everything else, I'm always going to take phone calls of people that want their old barn repaired. I'm always going to take them. I just feel that way.